What's going on, guys? It's Cimo. Some big news today because Konami released an official trailer, I guess you could call it, for Ghosts from the Past. This is a set that a lot of people have really been looking forward to. There's a lot of hype circulating around what could possibly be in it, and Konami's been very tight-lipped aside from, I believe, the Ghost Rares. I think we know all but one at this point as to what the other contents are of this set. This video is like 7.5 minutes, so I imagine that they're going to tell us in great detail a lot of what we can expect to see in this set, and I'm sure some of the other content creators will also be bringing throughout the week some spoilers, maybe some openings, different things like that. That's typically what they do, but I want to go ahead and bring you guys the live reaction, if you will, because I have not seen this video yet. I'm very curious to see what is going to be in this set, and so we can find out together. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm not just going to play the video. I'm going to go ahead and like skip ahead for the frames just to see if there is anything worth talking about. So looks like right here we have 45 brand new cards, 87 returning cards. I think we already knew that based off of all of the other information. There are the monsters that are on the pack. So right here we can actually see this confirms that is the alternate art Firewall Dragon that's going to be Ghost Rare, not the original, at least I imagine. I don't know why they would have it on the pack otherwise. The Blackluster Soldier Link we already knew, and Dark Magician we already knew as well, and then Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon I think is the fourth one that Konami already released. So we knew those four cards were in this pack at the very least, and those are also going to be the Ghost Rares specifically. So next up here, it looks like they confirmed that Vampire Voivode is coming to the TCG. This is, I believe, what Vampire Alucard was in the OCG. I actually have it pulled up here so you guys can see the effect. It's a dark zombie level 8 effect monster, 2800 attack, 2100 defense. If this card's normal summoned, you can target up to 2 monsters in your opponent's graveyard, special summon to the field in defense position, but their effects are negated. When a monster effect is activated, if a monster with the same name is in the graveyard, quick effect, you can negate the activation. If a monster card or cards is special summoned from your opponent's graveyard except during the damage step, you contribute 2 monsters, special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of this once per turn. Really cool card. Obviously, you know, it's in the vampire archetype, and as we've seen from looking over at the OCG, this card isn't really doing a whole lot. I imagine we're going to get a lot of just OCG random imports in this set just because we really don't have any other sets to put them in. I guess they could put them in like King's Court in June potentially, but typically these sorts of sets that are also like reprint sets are where a lot of these OCG specific reprints are going to come in. Let's go ahead and move on along though, and yeah, this is what I was figuring. So these are actually some of the Lavale cards, as a matter of fact. Quickly pulling them up here, we have Lavale Archer. It's a fire pyro effect, level 4, 1000 attack, 200 defense. If this card's normal summon during your main phase this turn, you can normal summon 1 Lavale monster in addition to your normal summoner set. That's not bad. You can only gain this effect once per turn. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 fire monster you control. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except fire monsters. Also destroy the targeted monster, and if you do, special summon this card in defense position, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Lavale Archer once per turn. That's a pretty cool card. And then we also have Lavale Salamander, which is a fire dragon synchro effect, level 7, 2600 attack, 200 defense, of course, for rekindling. It requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner fire monsters. If it's synchro summoned, you can draw 2 cards, then send 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, including at least 1 fire monster, or if you do not have any fire monsters in your hand, reveal your entire hand and shuffle it into the deck. Man, they really don't want you drawing those cards, do they? You can only use this effect of Lavale Salamander once per turn, and once per turn you can banish 1 fire monster from your graveyard, change face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position up to the number of Lavale monsters you control. I really wish that was a quick effect, because if it was like a Book of Moon sort of thing, like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, I think that would be a lot cooler, but we're going to be getting the rest of the Lavale support in here as well, it seems. And, ooh, here we go. It looks like the Shaddoll cards from the OCG are finally coming in. I love how it says here, Shaddoll's returned in force to the dueling scene after the launch of Structure Deck Shaddoll Showdown. They didn't really leave, to be honest. I mean, they're like one of the best decks right now, but we'll go ahead and quickly cover these as well. So first up is Hell Shaddoll Void. Sick name, by the way. It's a Fire Fiend flip effect, level 9, 2900 attack and defense. Flip, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, send 1 Shaddoll monster with the same attribute from your extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, banish that targeted monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of different original attributes on the field. You can only use 1 Hell Shaddoll Void effect per turn, and only once that turn. This flip effect's actually pretty cool because you can control the way that you flip in Shaddoll, so that could actually have a little bit of a higher spell speed than it may seem. It is a little bit conditional, but obviously Shaddoll can pretty easily fill that off. I'm not sure if they would play this, but it's a pretty cool card nonetheless. And then we have Neshadal Genius, a little bit of a throwback to the Cleaforts, as a matter of fact here. It's an Earth Machine flip effect, level 4, 1800 attack, 1000 defense. Flip, you can target one Shadal monster you control. This turn, that face-up monster is unaffected by monster effects except its own. That's not bad, but again, it's a little bit conditional, but it does allow you to set up to ensure that your plays will go through. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one effect monster on the field. Players cannot activate that target's effects on the field this turn. You can only use one effect per turn and only once that turn. That's actually pretty cool. It's like a little bit of a, it's like an Alec, and Shadal can easily dump cards to the graveyard, so I can actually see these cards seeing play just solely because Shadal is actually a very strong deck at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if these made it into some main decks. Continuing forward, it looks like we have a Necroz card as well. This is a really cool piece of art, by the way. Whoever did this is a fantastic job. I believe this is actually the Dragoonity Necroz card. Let's go ahead and pull that one up as well. So here we have Necroz of a Reed Bear. I probably completely butchered that. I can never pronounce the Dragoonity names. It's impossible. It's a Water Warrior ritual effect, level 10, 3300 attack, 3200 defense. You can ritual summon this card with any Necroz ritual spell. Must be ritual summoned without using any level 10 monsters. You can only use each of the following effects of Necroz of Arid Bear once per turn. You can discard this card, tribute up to 2 Necroz monsters from your hand and or field, and if you do, send the same number of Necroz cards from your deck to the graveyard. When a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can tribute 1 monster from your hand or field, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. What's actually interesting about that last effect is that it is not a once per turn, I believe. Oh no, it says you can only use each of the following effects once per turn, so it doesn't say it at the end. So this is a once per turn, but it's still not bad. It's a quick effect negation, so we'll take it. Necroz is actually like decent. Obviously, it's not doing a whole lot, but there are a few players that are messing around with the deck. This might mean that we're actually getting the Dragoonity cards in here as well. I wouldn't be surprised because we don't have the Dragoonity structure deck. We have to throw those cards in somewhere, and so this would be a very fitting place to put them. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh, it looks like we're getting the Fairy Tale cards as well that it looks like we haven't already received. The first one is Fairy Tale Rochka. It's a light spellcaster effect, level 4, 1850 attack, 1000 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can have your opponent gain 500 life points. Then they look at the top 3 cards of your deck and choose one to add to your hand, and you shuffle the rest into the deck. You can only use this effect of Fairy Tale Rochka once per turn. Before damage calculation, if this card battles, you can send this card to the graveyard. Very interesting effect, that's for sure. And then we also have the Fairy Tale spell card, which is fittingly called Fairy Tale. It's a continuous spell. You can reveal 1 spellcaster with 1850 attack in your hand with a different name from the monsters you control. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon or set that monster. You can only use this effect of Fairy Tale once per turn. Each turn, the first time you would take battle damage or effect damage while you control a spellcaster monster with 1850 original attack, you do not. It's interesting that you're able to actually just get some more monsters onto the field with this. A lot of the Fairy Tales trigger on normal summon and then activate their effect, and you know, that's perfectly fine. Like, Luna's a good card. I'm not sure if this is going to like push Fairy Tale in any sort of like higher tier contention. Fairy Tales are pretty like support driven. We know that like with Snow, which is banned in the TCG for us, as well as Luna. Luna like has like some sort of Luna control decks, but obviously they're not playing like the full suite of Fairy Tale monsters. It's interesting. Let us continue on forward. Ooh, it looks like we're getting some of the Hieratic cards as well. That's pretty exciting for all the Dragon players out there. First up, we have Hieratic Seal of Creation. It's a normal spell. Target 1 Dragon Xyz monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck 1 Hieratic Xyz monster with a different original name than that monster you control by using it as material. This is treated as an Xyz summon. Transfer its materials to the summoned monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Hieratic monster in your graveyard. Special summon it in defense position. You can only use 1 Hieratic Seal of Creation effect per turn, and only once that turn. And then we also have the upgraded Heliopolis Hieratic Sky Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. It's a light dragon Xyz effect, rank 8, 3000 attack, 2400 defense. It requires 2 level 8 monsters. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card you control in your graveyard and or your banished cards, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. That's a pretty strong effect. I really love that. And Dragon Link's already the best deck. Are we gonna have like Hieratic Dragon Link decks running around? I'm not sure. That'd be badass. We'll have to see. But these cards are pretty cool. I could actually see these seeing some play. All right, so going back. Oh, wow. There's actually a big one. This is Hieratic Seal of Celestial Spheres actually getting its reprint, it looks like here. This is a big one. This card was actually getting very expensive, like in the $15 to $20 range, and it was just a bit outrageous. It hasn't had a reprint, and so because Dragon Link obviously is going up, this card is just in higher demand. So very, very nice for anyone looking to pick up Dragon Link or any sort of dragon-focused strategy, because this is one of the core components of it. That's a nice reprint, and then it looks like we also have one of the Galaxy Eyes Cypher. I think this is Galaxy Eyes Cypher X Dragon. Wow, I can't believe I actually got that right. So it's a light dragon exceeds effect, rank 10, 4,000 attack, 3,000 defense, requires 2 level 10 monsters. Once per turn, you can also exceed summon this by using a Cypher Dragon monster you control as material. That's very common with these cards, and you transfer its materials to this card. You can detach 2 materials from this card. Your opponent cannot target light monsters you control with card effects until the end of their turn. Once per turn during your standby phase, you can return 1 rank 9 or lower Dragon Exceeds monster from your graveyard to the extra deck. Then you can special summon that monster from your extra deck by using this face-up card you control as material. Treat it as an Exceed summon, and you transfer its materials to the summoned monster. That's really cool. Again, I'm not sure if there's a lot of utility for a card like this, but artwork is sick. It's a pretty decent effect. It's not bad. All right, so moving on along, and oh, it looks like we're also getting the Time Thief cards that we also never received here in the TCG as well. Let me quickly pull those up. This is Time Thief Adjuster. It's a Dark Psychic effect, level 4, 1200 attack, 1800 defense. If you normal or special summon a Time Thief monster except this, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 Time Thief card from your deck to the graveyard, except Adjuster. You can only use 1 Time Thief Adjuster effect per turn, and only once that turn. That's so unfortunate. If you could just use both effects, this card would be incredible, but the fact that you're limited to one or the other, I think you would still play it, but it's just, I don't know why they had the balancing there. It's just so unfortunate. I imagine we're going to be getting some of the other cards in here as well, and yep, there it is. I think that is Time Thief Double Barrel. I actually already had that one pulled up. It is a Dark Psychic Exceeds effect, rank 4, 2200 attack and defense, 2 level 4 monsters to make, so it is generic. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach up to 3 different types of materials from this card, then apply the following effects depending on what was detached. If it's a monster, this gains 400 attack. A spell, take control of 1 face-up monster your opponent controls until the end phase, but it cannot declare an attack or activate its effects. That's still very strong. And trap, negate the effects of 1 effect monster on the field until the end of this turn. I think this is a generically just strong card all around. You obviously need to have a way to get the spells and traps as Exceeds material, which means it's very difficult to play this outside of a Time Thief focused deck. Obviously, we've seen it in the past. We've seen Redoer in decks such as, what was it, Lunalight Orchest, I think back in the day, or just pure Lunalight. But Redoer was able to attach materials itself to trigger its effect, and where this card, you actually need to have ways to get them on the card itself. But still a pretty decent card. Very strong effects on it. Let's go ahead and move on. Speaking of Redoer, looks like Redoer is getting a reprint in here. That's perfectly fine, especially if it's a holo. And it looks like we're actually getting some of the Dragoonity cards in here as well. It looks like the prediction was true. And this is one of, this wasn't, I don't believe this was from the structure deck. I think this might have been a jump promo. And I'm just going to skip ahead here and see it. Yep, there it is. Okay, so it looks like they are going to disassemble the Dragoonity structure deck for us TCG players and put it in Ghosts from the Past to randomize it. They did this with the Infernoble structure deck as well with Toon Chaos last year. They've also done this with the Pendulum Magician structure deck where they completely disassembled that and made an entire set around it. I really don't like when they do this. I don't see the point. Why not just release it as another structure deck? I feel like it's just a bit of a cash grab, to be honest. I'm sure people who like Dragoonities are happy to see it. I just really wish they didn't do this. It's fine, but it's kind of whatever. Anyway, let's move on. And it looks like we're getting the Sun Avalon cards in here as well. I think we already knew this. I think they said in the product description when they first announced this that Sun Avalon would be in here. I've done an entire video about that archetype. Spoiler, I don't think it's too fantastic. It's the artwork's kind of cool, but like that's about it. This card's actually pretty neat. I just love the artwork on it. It has like a very like striking pose. That's pretty cool. And oh wow, we're actually getting the Holy Knights in here as well, it looks like, because this is the Seiru. The strategy focuses on summoning Starry Knight, Starry Dragon. Oh, Konami, what did you do to my boy? The Holy Knights were such a cool name, but now they're the Starry Knights? Oh, come on. All right, well, we're getting these in here as well. I guess that's kind of cool. Again, we had to get these at some point because this was from a very specific set in the OCG that wasn't like a main core set. So we're probably gonna have all of these in here. These are fine. They're not really that spectacular. The artwork on them is pretty cool, I'll say that. But other than that, it's not really anything special. Looks like Emergency Teleport's getting a reprint. I think this is actually pretty good. Emergency Teleport, I don't think has had many reprints. It might have just had like a gold series print, if anything. And E-Tele was actually getting a little bit expensive. So I think a reprint of that is definitely welcome. Buster Dragon's getting a reprint. Interesting. This is really funny. This card was like $40 for no reason whatsoever. And now it's getting reprinted. We also have Armed Dragon level 10. I guess they want to continue giving people Armed Dragon access for Blazing Vortex for some reason, because if you didn't already have your Armed Dragons, hey, here you go. Here's some more Armed Dragon cards for you, I guess. And, oh, it looks like we're actually getting into the Ghost Rares here now. So there's the Ghost Rare Dark Magician. Dark Magician's my least favorite of, you know, Dark Magician or Blue Eyes, but I will say as a Ghost Rare, I think it's definitely fitting that it gets one. Next up is Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. And then we have Firewall Dragon, and you can see there it is the alternate artwork. Let's see what else. Is this the... Oh, this is the Blackluster Soldier one, I think. This is a weird angle. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. I don't know why they picked it from this angle. Maybe just to make it artistic. I don't know. And... oh, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon's the 5th one. Wow. What's fascinating about this is that they're doing a Legendary Duelist set that has a big Synchro focus, and those Legendary Duelist sets have been having Synchro, or excuse me, been having Ghost Rare cards as like a one-of chase card, like they did with Wing Dragon of Ra in the last Legendary Duelist. So I'm kind of surprised to see this in here because I felt like they would have put it in that product. But this is still pretty nice. I think a lot of people are going to want a Ghost Rare Crystal Wing. It's a pretty strong Synchro monster, regardless of what deck you play it in. I think it's so funny. So many people thought that this was going to be Dark Magician Girl, and they thought Konami was holding out to the very end for this big reveal that it was going to be the Dark Magician Girl. But nope, no Dark Magician Girl. So rip to the people who got the pre-orders that were hoping that that was going to be the case. I still think this is fine, though. There's very few cards, arguably, you'd want to see it Ghost Rare. I think Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon is probably one that deserves it, arguably. There's probably others, like you could say Dark Magician Girl deserves it, but this is fine. It's just weird that it's in this set and not like the Legendary Duelist set. We'll see what they do about that. I'll be interested to see. Looks like that's the end of the video. Not really much more else there. Yeah, so overall, what are my thoughts? It's exciting that we finally have the spoilers, but unfortunately, unless the reprints in this product are insane and like incredible, it's not really too special. You know, I mean, we're getting a lot of cards from the OCG. That's good. It's cards that we haven't gotten before, and that's nice because, you know, typically there's this big disparity between what the OCG gets and what we get, and the products are completely different aside from core sets. And so yes, we're getting them, but it's not really something I'm looking too forward to because nothing in here is like game changing. We still don't have Crossout Designator. If that's in here, that's going to be a big game changer, but we'll have to see what the other reprints are. Maybe if there's other new cards in here as well. We need to see the full spoiler before making any final conclusions, but for now, it's fine. But guys, those are just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. And if you found this video informative, consider supporting me on Patreon for exclusive early one-day access to both the Yu-Gi-Oh Progression series and the history of Yu-Gi-Oh. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time.